Yo, what's going on, guys? Today is Thursday, September 18th, and this is going to be the first trade recap that I'm doing. Today was about a $4,785 day across six accounts on two different prop firms. Now, I will just put out a little disclaimer. It was like slightly clickbait. That's my bad, because as you can see here, one of them, or part of it, was on an eval. But, I didn't feel the need to put all that in the title. But 100% transparency. Some of that was on the eval on one account, and then the rest of it was across five express accounts on topstep. It's basically the same trade. I just entered at two different points, so we're gonna kind of go through my thought process here. So as you can see here, we finished the day with about 1,500 on the alpha eval. And we took shorts today. We finished around, I think it was 9:48 p.m. So really short day, really quick day. I got in a little bit earlier because I like to trade pre-market, but yeah, let's just get straight to it. So what I like to do is every time before I start the day, I like to start on higher time frames and just kind of do a top-down analysis. Nothing I'm going to say here is new or revolutionary. This is, it's simple stuff. But somebody did want me to do a trade recap and kind of give some insight into my strategy. So here's what it is. So we had our interest rate decision yesterday, which kind of caused a spike in the market. It caused us to take all-time highs, and then we started shorting off since. So with the way that this candle closed, I saw that we took this high here, the all-time high, and then we shorted off all the way down here, which managed to get us closed through this daily fair value gap. So because we took these highs and failed to displace anywhere within this range, let alone above the range of this daily candle, and then we shorted off and then displaced through this daily imbalance, that then led me to have a bearish bias for the day. So going into today, what I wanted to see is for us to create our wick for today's bearish candle, and then after we created the wick, that's when I'd kind of be looking for shorts to happen. So you can see I got it a little bit early here, but that's simply because I was on an eval. I kind of touched on this in my last video. Whenever you're trading an eval, you can kind of afford to loosen up a little bit. At least that's my personal philosophy. I like to just jump straight into it. If I feel like something's going to happen, I'm just going to do it, catch the early end of the movement so I can pass this account as fast as possible. This is not financial advice, by the way. This is just my personal thinking. But yeah, so I saw that we were shorts today, so I was looking for us to create, after we opened here, I was looking for us to create our high / our wick, and then once I started to see that we were beginning to short, that's when I'd be looking for my entry. So then you drop down to the 4-hour here. Nothing really major here. There wasn't much that I was really worried about. I did see that we had a 4-hour gap right here, so I was expecting for us to come down a little bit, reach into that, and then short off, which is exactly what we did. We reached into it, and then we started shorting off. This was around the time when we were in this candle. This is when I got on the charts. So at this point, we had already reached into the gap and then started shorting off. So I knew that we were good. So usually before I get on the charts, I like to look at the 4-hour because price tends to be attracted to those 4-hour imbalances. And that 4-hour gap would have been the only thing that I would have been worried about for us to retrace towards before we did actually continue shorting off. So if I were to get on earlier, or if I were to get on and saw that we didn't tap that 4-hour gap, I might not have taken a trade yet, just because I wanted to see us fill this first, to kind of give me some extra confidence to enter shorts. But yeah, when I got on, we already tapped the gap. We already began the process of displacing outside of it. So I felt pretty good to enter shorts. I go on to the 1-hour. This is I mainly just use the 1-hour to mark out highs and lows and stuff. So I marked out London highs here, and then I believe Asia lows were, let's see, yeah, they were actually right here, and then London lows followed right here. So then I dropped down to my 15, and this is kind of when I was looking for entry. So I saw here, this is when we tapped into that 4-hour gap for the first time. We started shorting off a little bit. We tested it again shortly after, which is fine, because what I'm looking for at this point after we tap this 4-hour gap is I just want to see a change in state of delivery. So you can see that we kind of shorted off here, had a series of two up close candles and then a down close candle closing below the opening of that bullish sequence. So that kind of serves as a small change in state of delivery. So then from this point, what I'm looking for is another confirmation with an order block. So then after we created the CISD, we retraced into the 4 hour. Again, I was actually expecting us to take London highs here, but it didn't look like we could do that, which is perfectly fine, because then we started shorting off pretty hard here. And then we kind of, came down and retrace back into the zone of the change in state of delivery. From here, I decided to switch to the 5 minute because, like I said, I was really confident about this move, so I jumped in earlier. So I kind of just wanted to get something that I could enter off of. So after I dropped down to the 5 minute, I saw that we had already created an order block right here. And then we also kind of did the same over here where we came up, had a change in state of delivery right here, came up, created an order block right here. This is around when I decided to enter. As you can see, this is where I entered. I saw that we created that change in state of delivery and then the order block. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and enter now. So I took my short position with 5 micros and I put the stop loss to just a solid 100 ticks, risking 500. That's usually what I like to risk on the eval, on a 50K eval at least. So I risked 500, which worked out perfectly here because 100 ticks gave me some leeway above London highs in case we decided to come take those and then short off, which is almost what we did. We came up, retested the 4 hour. We couldn't quite get to London highs, like I said, which is fine. At this point, I was already in the trade. And then we started shorting off. So from here, we took it down. Took a little while. We were in the trade for a good minute, but we did hit full TP. On the eval, I was targeting London lows. So we did hit TP, 310 ticks. Really, really solid trade, 5 micros, $1,500 day. Super solid. Pretty much as simple as that. Yeah, and then I ended up entering a little bit later on the Express, so we're going to go ahead and move over to that so I can show you guys my thought process going into there with something that's actually, that matters a little bit more. All right, so now we are on the Express. So as far as the Express goes, oh, by the way, here it is, $677 across 5 accounts, as you can see here, just as the proof that this is on an Express account. But yeah, for my thought process going into the Express account, I wanted to wait a little bit longer for a little more confirmation before I hopped in, because obviously this matters a little bit more. So I wanted to kind of see more of an A+ setup going into this, or at least something that made me feel really confident about the move. So what I wanted to see happen on the Express is I really wanted to see us take highs here, London highs. I wanted to see those get taken. So then we could get a little sweep and then continuation lower. I was expecting it to happen off of news, which it almost did. You can see here the news candle kind of reacted a little bit volatile, I guess. I mean, it really wasn't much at all. I think it was just U.S. jobs or something like that. I saw that we had this move up here, so I was expecting news to give us a little bit of an extra push so we can take that high and then continue or start to begin our short process. But we didn't. Once again, it's fine. It's not always going to happen. You're not necessarily always going to get that draw on liquidity that you want. To me, taking London highs just gives me a little bit more security in the move, so I can kind of feel better about it because I know that price doesn't have as much to be attracted to. But like I said before, when I was going through the top-down analysis, we had already tapped that 4 hour, so I really wasn't worried about it that much. We got this close. Couldn't do it. It's fine. So at this point, we started shorting off. We did kind of maybe get a bit of a change in state of delivery or an order block here, if you want to consider it one. I don't, because there was so much chop here. So I wanted to wait a little bit longer. What I was really looking for today was for us to get a change in state of delivery from this move right here. I'm sorry, not change in state of delivery, an order block from this move right here. I wanted to see us close below the body of this candle. I wanted to see us close through this series of up close. So we shorted off. I saw that we were getting some good pressure here. We inversed this 15-minute gap, and we also inversed this 15-minute gap. So that gave me even more confidence going into it. And then as you can see here, it was some really solid push to the downside. There wasn't a lot of buy pressure that kind of pushed us up at all. These are all, bearish candles. So then we had that close through the series of up close candles here. So then that's when I started looking for my entry. So after that happened, I kind of waited a second. In all honesty, I shouldn't have done this. This was just slight hesitation on my end. But it did begin to short off here. I was mostly just, the reason why I didn't get in as soon as I got this confirmation here was because I was hesitating because I was trying to figure out how I wanted to size this, because I didn't want to risk any more than 300 on this move. So I was trying to figure out how I could size my contracts in order to meet my risk rules. So I was doing a little bit of math. I should have done it before. I didn't. That was a mistake on my end. But I had to deal with the consequences of it. Missed out on maybe an extra $100 or so. I don't know. But doing a bit of math, figuring out how I could size it. So I ended up going 3 micros here with a 110 tick stop loss. I dropped down to the 5-minute and just put my stop at this 5-minute swing high right here. I thought that was a good area to put it. So that's where I put it. Did 3 micros. It was $330, just over what I wanted to risk, but it wasn't a big deal. I'm okay with losing $330. To me, it was perfectly fine. So yeah, I put the stop loss there. I entered here, so that was the point when I figured it out. So I pressed sell, and then I wanted to take the TP all the way down here to a flat 2R, give or take. So I did obviously see that we had London lows and Asia lows here, so I was paying close attention to that area to make sure that price didn't reject really hard and then end up just longing and edging out my TP completely. I obviously didn't want that to happen. So I was keeping an eye on it once we reached this area. But the reason why I targeted this area was not only because it was a 2R, because if I don't think price is likely to reach a specific area, I'm not going to shoot for it, of course. So the reason why I shot for that zone was because on the 4-hour, we had a swing low right here. We had a 4-hour swing low, and like I said, on the 4-hour, I feel like a lot of imbalances and a lot of draws on liquidity on these higher time frames tend to be really powerful. So I figured, with the bearish bias going in today, with the seller pressure that we've been having, I think we'll be able to get down there. So I put my target right about down there, and I moved it just beyond that by just a couple of ticks just to make sure I hit my actual 2R. So 220 ticks short, 110 tick stop loss, ended up hitting I think about 680. Once it reached this zone, I got out, and that was that. You can see here it was pretty much the perfect area to exit, because from that point it began to kind of long and consolidate a little bit. So got in at a pretty decent time, got out at seemingly the perfect time. This is a really good day. I don't really have that many complaints. I do think I should have just jumped in a little bit earlier without hesitation. I definitely should have figured out my sizing beforehand instead of trying to do it last minute. But you learn from your mistakes. We won't do it going forward, hopefully. This is a good trade. I traded with the trend. I'm glad I did it on all my accounts, because now we are up very, very well today, and we are currently one more winning day away from being able to take a payout. So I'm really excited. This has been going super well, and hopefully you guys learned something from this. Maybe got a little bit of insight into my strategy, or maybe it helps you with yours a little bit. But if you guys want me to do more trading recaps, I definitely can. My whole philosophy though is, like, I don't trade super often. Like, I tend to trade only once or twice a week, because I only trade on days on my Express, at least. I only trade on days when I feel like it's really high probability and I'm super confident. So I don't trade super often. It works for me. It might not work for everybody else, but if you do want me to post more recaps, let me know. I definitely will. Every time I trade, I can put out a recap. Win or loss, eval or express, I can put it out. Just let me know. If you guys have any more questions about my strategy, I can make a video about it, about how I get my bias, how I get my entries, whatever it is. If you guys got any questions, I'm not gatekeeping anything. Just let me know. But yeah, really good day, and that's the recap. Hopefully you guys hit some today. If not, it's cool. Tomorrow's a new day. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your day.